What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of That Time in Hip Hop, a podcast all about history, nostalgia, facts, and all the things that are represented in hip hop music and culture. I am your host, Vegas of Hip Hop Now podcast, and with me, as always, the homie. You see the hat, you see the shirt in the background, Tony from Into the Dome podcast and .com. What up, man?
What's going on, man? Look, man. Apologies on my background. We couldn't get it together tonight, man. So we're gonna be old school gangster MC8 straight up menace tonight.
Right.
Sipping on some this actually is ginger ale. It just looks different.
Okay. This is pumpkin brew season.
Hey, man, I had one yesterday.
Yeah, man. This shit is good, man.
It's the time, man. It's almost Oktoberfest time, baby.
It is the time, man. And it's time for you for that time in hip hop. First and foremost, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, do so right now. Help the channel out, help the channel grow. But more importantly, it's about the content. You know what I'm saying? It's about the hip hop content. And if you've never heard of that time in hip hop, this is your first time here in YouTube form or audio form. Well, what we do here is exactly what I said in the beginning, right? It's about the preservation of hip hop music and culture through events, albums, artists, moguls, times in hip hop that we look back on. We don't revise. We look back on with facts of what actually happened in detail. And that's what we're here to do today for sure. So before we get into the main part of the show, the main thing that I like to point out is going back in history and what happened in September 1991. Nice and Smooth, the duo, the group, released their sophomore album.
Yeah.
And the damn thing changed. Tone 91. Nice and Smooth second album. What were your thoughts when the single started dropping? You heard the album, all that good stuff.
Well, first of all, I love Nice and Smooth. I like their debut joint. I'm going to make it real funky for you. You know what I'm saying? I like Nice and Smooth. You know what I'm saying? So I thought Smooth B had a nice voice, nice flow. Greg Nice had the energy, man, and the flavor and everything like that, man. So look, I was looking forward to the follow up, man. You never know how a follow up going to be during that time. It's either going to knock out the park or it's going to be like, oh man, it's not popping off. But actually, the sophomore album actually got higher ratings, professional reviews, you know what I'm saying, at the time, you know what I'm saying, and it was received very well, man. And of course, man, sometimes I rhyme slow, sometimes I rhyme quick, whatever. That was, I think they took that Tracy Chapman Fast Car, you know what I'm saying, which was a legendary song in the 80s, man. And Tracy Chapman, I love Tracy Chapman, so I just love that song, man. And the rhymes was dope. It felt good, man. Hip Hop Junkies was another dope joint on there. Oh, and the joint I used to like on there too. Can't have your cake and eat it too. You know what I'm saying?
Cake and eat it too. Word.
So man, like it was a really dope album, man. Like, and a matter of fact, it got 4.5 stars out of 5 on All Music. You know what I'm saying? So it was well received, man. And again, let me say this real quick too. I saw them a few years ago. Knife brings a lot of people back here to Winston for our high school reunion type joint every year or whenever we can. And one year, Nice and Smooth came with like Black Moon and Brandon Newbies, all these acts and stuff like that, man. I'm gonna tell you, that was my first time seeing them live. And even at this point in their life, man, they on stage performance was good. Big Nice jump in the crowd. He walk around the crowd with the mic. I mean, he still got the same good energy, good vibe, man. Really love Nice and Smooth. Really love Greg Nice. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, they came through correct, man. What was your thoughts leading up to that sophomore album? And what did you think about the album?
Man, Hip Hop Junkies in New York was crazy at the time.
Sure it
was. It was obviously the beat, the sample. What was the sample from one of them old shows, the Monkeys or the Partridge Family? One of them
old joint, but I don't want to be.
Yeah, but I just remember how much play was getting on the radio, how much I heard it just, in the streets or whatever. Then they remember they had the Spanish remix to that joint. And
yeah, they did have a Spanish remix to that.
That shit was kind of high too. But again, like you said, all the songs you named were crazy. it exceeded my expectations because when their debut came out, I didn't have the album, but I saw the video for "Funky for You" and all of that, and I really liked them. But by the time the second one dropped, I remember my older sister bought it, and I listened, and I was like, "Yo, this is better than." By that time, I had heard the debut. I was like, "Yo, this is better than the debut. This is
Yeah, it was
crazy.
better. Yeah, it was
These
better.
dudes are dope." You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But yeah, man, incredibly dope album. A group that doesn't get talked about that much might be
Yeah.
because the first two albums were kind of their vibe and the wick, and then they kind of fell off a little bit since then, but still had an impact on the hip hop game at that point in time in the early
But you
'90s.
know what too?
Mhm.
Another little that time in hip hop thing to remember also is after they kind of cooled down, Greg Nice got really cool with Tupac, and Greg Nice is going to be part of One Nation. So there is video of Greg Nice in the studio with all the Pac and his boys, and you can hear him in the booth rhyming. Like he had rhymes on the One Nation album. Some of those songs eventually started leaking. What I'm saying, from an
Right.
unfinished project. But Greg Nice and Pac, and Greg Nice has been on Vlad TV and a couple of places before, talking about his relationship with Pac and the whole One Nation project and all that, man. But yeah, Pac really loved Greg Nice. You know what I'm saying? They had a real relationship outside of music. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Nice and Smooth, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and y'all could catch Greg Nice on the Rock the Bell show. What's that sample? Something like that. With LL. It's pretty dope because you don't always get to hear from all of these dudes in hip hop, their perspective, influences. Like you said, some people before Greg Knight started telling us, we didn't even know he really had a relationship with Tupac like that.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
it's like that.
Right. All right. What do you think? What did you hear Nice and Smooth's album back then? Did you buy it? You know what I'm saying? How do you feel about Nice and Smooth as a group? Leave your comments in the comment section below. But now we're going to get into what you saw on the thumbnail, the title, the album, the guy. No Ovhoes will be injured during this video unless you violate, okay? We're here to talk about something very special, to be honest. Tone, tell the people what we're here to talk about.
Man, it's been a topic of discussion on my Twitter page for the last few days. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily this album, but this time in hip hop, or that time in hip hop, rather, 2011 Drake sophomore album, Take Care, hits the stands, man. First of all, let me say this: anticipation for a sophomore album after a very successful debut for any MC is a big deal. It's a big, big deal. You know what I'm saying? And Drake had came off. We know he had that mixtape run, man, with Room for Improvement and Comeback Season and all of that stuff like that, leading up to So Far Gone, which many will say So Far Gone is one of those game changing mixtapes in hip hop culture. Same way
Yeah.
Wayne has one, 50 Cent has one, and a few other MCs have a game changer, Jeezy and others. You know what I'm saying? Well, So Far Gone was a mixtape that almost felt like an album, you know what I mean? And then leading up to the debut album, which ended up being a huge success, um, features on it and producers on it, everything like that. So Drake becomes a star, best ever had everything. You know what I'm saying? Well, that was right before the debut, but nevertheless, he was a star now. You know what I'm saying? He did mixtapes, he had done a big debut. Now what's next? But a lot happened leading up to Take Care. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna discuss a lot of things that happened that time when this leading up to this album dropping, because Drake, unlike what a lot of people believe, is a hip hop head. And he really wanted that album to be a certain kind of way. And a few things kind of got scratched. And the album was still put together. Of course, it's a massive album. We're gonna get into, of course, the album ended up leaking like 9-10 days before the actual release date, but it still almost sold 600,000, 700,000 the first week. And like
Mm.
now, as of 2025, Take Care is 8 times platinum. So it's almost a diamond album. So it's a massive album with 7 big singles, huge guest appearances, and we'll get into all that, man. But I wanted to get into and Drake Vega, I don't know how deep we want to go into this leading up to Take Care.
Yeah. I mean, it was one of those things, like you said, where the mixtapes, but definitely the So Far Gone joint. It got to a point. Wait, not So Far Gone. What's the name of the mixtape again?
Well,
October's
that's
End.
that's the main one. So far
That's
gone is the
So
main
Far
one. Before that, it was room for improvement, comeback season, and all of that.
Comeback season. Yeah. So it was definitely some momentum building, and to your point, like you said, with his debut album, um, he kind of met the hype at that point in time with that debut album.
Hmm.
But to your point, when you have that much success and everybody's happy, it's like, what's next? And so, like, leading up to the album, I think for myself personally, I didn't have huge expectations because Drake was kind of everything. You know what I'm saying? He gave you a little bit of singing, he gave you some rapping. He would feature different people. You just didn't really know what you were going to get, which
Yeah.
was a good thing to me because I wasn't tainted by, oh, it has to be this or it has to be that. It was just like whatever.
Well, I think we was excited down here because in 2011, you know what I'm saying? The Wonder Years came out. Ninth Wonder's documentary came out, and for any fans of Little Brother, Ninth Wonder, and all of this stuff, you might remember the part on the Wonder Year, the segment with Drake and Knife. You know what I'm saying? They was together talking for quite a while, and Drake was just talking about coming up. He said there was a producer I was around. I can't give his name. He used to really rock with your music, and he kind of took your style a little bit, the influence and stuff like that. And Knife was kind of like, "What's his name?" He said, "Well, I can't say that." You know what I'm saying? And then Drake even said, "Hey, I made a hit with Best I Ever Had, but it kind of had to boom bap a little bit and threw a sample over. It's like, so why can't, me and Knife make a hit together?" And, said, then he also talked about for a period of time, he was like, "Man, I think I talked to you more than I talked to my mom." You know what I'm saying? Like, and Knife
Right.
started laughing. So they was actually communicating a lot during that time. Now, obviously, I knew that as well. I was for my personal relationship with Pat, but it was like, okay, wow, this is gonna really happen. I remember him saying, "Well, we're gonna. I think we might cook some stuff up together." That was what was gonna happen. Drake really wanted that to happen. Um, there was some political stuff going on from a little bit I can say, and at some point I think Knife was sending some beats to one of the A&Rs, but that's not his thing because everyone Knife has ever worked with, for the most part, big name people, he's sending the beats to them directly. He's talked to them
Mhm.
directly. Drake and Knife had a relationship already, so Knife's not going to be going around trying to speak the middleman type thing. It was a lot of other stuff too. It just didn't really pan out the way they were hoping it pan out, and they had been communicating a lot. Another rumor was obviously Fonte was supposed to be on Take Care. Is another rumor
Mhm.
because obviously people that know Fonte and Drake background, Drake was influenced by Little Brother and Fonte. Drake also did a song on one of the earlier mixtapes. It might have been Comeback Season. Think Good Thoughts, produced by Knife Wonder with Anita Baker sample featuring Fonte and Elzai from Slum Village. You know what I'm saying? So the relationship was there. And then Drake also did a song called Don't You Got a Man, with Little Brother. You know what I'm saying? With Fonte and Pooh. So the relationship was there. You know what I'm saying? That's two tracks with Fonte on it, and one with Pooh and Fonte on it, and a production credit from Knife. So we thought that was gonna happen down here, man, and it never manifested. But that just shows at the same time the fact that Drake had worked with all of them. Drake is a hip hop head, and definitely during that time, he really wanted. It sounded like he wanted to take care to go in a different direction. You know what I'm saying? But it turned out to be that he ended up start working back with 40 again, and T minus and a bunch of producers in the camp and just people close to him in general. So they end up making. I'm not mad at the album because it's a massive album for its era. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, if he would have had more people like Justin Knife and all those people on there, it would have sounded different. And I'm sure financially, Birdman and Young Money, Cash Money, and all that really wanted Drake to really push the commercial sound, which he added more R&B in it, but he was still rapping different type of styles. You got Rihanna on it. You got a big
Right.
group of guests. Even got Kendrick Lamar now. Funny enough, you got Rick Ross on there. Funny enough now, you know what I'm saying. You
Yeah.
got Rihanna. Like I said, you got Wayne and Birdman and Nicki Minaj. So it turned into a massive album, you know what I'm saying? But underground heads who was hoping for something different, they didn't get that. But if you were carrying, if you were one of the guys that's carrying, helping to carry a record label, then you have to have massive success, which you got 7 big singles and like 4 or 5 of them charted like top 20, and some of them with the number 1. You know what I'm saying? But what was you thinking, Lee? Well, when it dropped, did it sound like you expected it to sound? Because maybe you didn't know some of the stuff that I would have known living down here dealing with Knife and everyone. But for you guys in New York and stuff like that, what was your impression, man, when we first heard Take Care? How was it received up the state?
I think overall it was received pretty big. Obviously this album was bigger for a younger generation who was like in
Huge.
that bag of the Drakes and the Kendricks and everybody that was popping at the time. Um, for me, I like this better than the debut because this felt more like So Far Gone to me.
Oh, it did.
You
It
know what I'm
was so
saying?
so far gone on steroids.
Right. It was kind of like, you got the rapping, but you you didn't like even the first track, right? Like he's just straight rapping for the
He's
most part.
rapping. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He
He's
was
rapping
rapping.
on him. But the beat isn't like a boom bap beat, but it doesn't even have to be because it fit because Drake had already established that sound. And then also, I think I
Yep,
forgot to mention this, but in between those albums and during those albums, he was doing a lot of features. So he was
he
like
was.
building,
He was.
coming bigger than anything. So when I heard it, I liked it because I like the flow of the album. It's
Yep,
real chill. You get the rapping, you get the this is probably to me this is probably like peak Drake rapping to me, like as far as his albums. He's had other joints where, he's had bars and stuff like that, but I feel like as an entire album, it just felt like it was well thought out, well produced. And to your point, I still think Ninth could have got a joint off on there that would have fit. What
yeah,
obviously you find the beat that fits within there, and I would have loved to hear Fonte on the record.
yeah, yeah, man. But let me also, yeah, that would have been dope, man. Because at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying. Knife has made songs for Jill Scott and Erica Badu, so he can make a laid back beat. He made Girl and Issue the Reason for Destiny Child. I mean, you can make it. It just didn't work out, and I hate that.
Right.
And like I said, he liked Drake. You know what I'm saying? And Drake really was a big fan of Little Brother Knife. So we really wish that would have happened, man. But we understand there is a such thing called industry politics. You know what I'm saying? And there,
There is.
and those things do happen. I think Fonte addressed it years and years ago, not with no kind of issue or nothing like that, because he liked Drake, you know what I'm saying? He was just kind of like, it just didn't pop off, you know what I'm saying? But let me say this real quick too. You said something that made a lot of sense when you said peak Drake. I think that when you look at Drake's style, the singing, the rapping, I think Take Care is the perfect combination of the total artist that is Drake. You know what I'm saying? The MC part, I know some of y'all don't want to hear that, but the MC part is there where he really can spit when he want to spit. That is not a secret. You know what I'm saying? Like him or not, whenever Drake want to rap, Drake can rap. You know what I'm saying? And this ain't just me saying it, and I ain't talking about his core like crazy fan base. I'm talking about other great MCs have said this, and not even ones that's trying to work with him. You know what I'm saying? You
Mhm.
got people like Nas and these other guys who have said Drake gets busy. You know what I'm saying? And everybody ain't trying to cap to say that to get a feature. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
some people really think the dude can rap. And if you listen to something like Family Matters and stuff like that, Drake can rap, man. The timestamp songs, he can rap. Or Murto, Diplomatic Immunity, he can rap. So I think that on Take Care, he showed the rapping, the singing. It's almost like, and I said this a couple of years ago, Vague, Take Care almost felt like Drake's version of the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is Lauren gave you some bars, not as many as Drake gave you on Take Care. But the funny thing is people be calling Miseducation a rap album. So how is that a rap album? And Take Care, some people be like, well, Take Care not a rap album. Yes, Take Care is a rap album too. You know what I'm saying?
There's more rapping on there. Yeah.
There's more rapping on Take Care than it is on Miseducation. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So that's another thing. But I thought that was his version of it. It probably is, looking back, the best decision that it sounded the way it sounded. You know what I'm saying? To be honest. and I'm not biased. So what I'm gonna say is, I think it was perfect for what it was. I don't think you need to put nothing else on, not take nothing else off. I think Drake hit his mark on Take Care. I think that it didn't leave nothing to be desired, really. When you think of, if you're looking back now and how his career has gone before and after that, I think that was a perfect piece of music for him, man. And but let me say these 7 singles real quick, man, because this is important. You got Marvin's Room, you got Headlines, you got Made Me Proud, you got The Motto, you got the Take Care title track, you got Crew Love, then you got the joint HYFR. You know what I'm saying? Like these are massive songs, man, that charted. Someone played on the radio all the time. Someone played in the clubs. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, this is probably by 2011, Drake is on his way to being the guy.
Yeah.
He's
And yo,
probably the guy. He's probably the guy right now at this
did
at 2011.
I would say so. Didn't Marvin's Room and Headlines drop like right before the album also?
I believe they dropped right before the album. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
because I
saying? They were
remember
huge.
online, like he could have sat on those singles for a minute because the talk about Marvin's Room alone was a lot. Like
It was a
that's
lot.
all I saw. I went and bought that, back when people go and buy singles on iTunes. I went and bought the single because I was like, yo, this joint is alright. And I think to your point, you're right, because what I like using Marvin's Room, for example, right? To me, like this is probably more peak Drake singing than anything, to be honest, because when you listen to him sing now, it's not the same as back then.
Yeah,
Um, this is kind of when he was sounding all right, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And to have a song like Marvin's Room where you're doing some of the singing, you're doing some of the rapping, and they both sound good, they both sound right as far as the arrangement. Like it just sound like a perfect example of this is what Drake does in one song.
yeah.
So you're right.
Nothing sounded forced about that song. With nothing sounded forced on the album at all. Every song to me felt authentic. The popular songs, the popular singers, it didn't sound like songs when when an artist try to make a single. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Right.
trying to make this hit the club. Nah, they were just dope songs that fit the mood, whether it was a club mood or radio mood or what, or just riding in your car. I just think that the production team along with him, they put together something that was sequenced very dope. You know what I'm saying? Also, if you're looking at, we talking about some of his peak rapping, Lord Knows with Rick Ross, produced by Just Blaze, is a prime example of whenever Drake really want to rhyme, and then Rick Ross killed it. And I said this a couple of years ago on Twitter. I said, man, Rick Ross and Drake never missed on a song together. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? All the songs they did together were all fire. You know what I'm saying? Like that was a quick moment where Rick Ross and Drake would have done like a 10-track album. It would have been a classic probably, man. Like they really sound good together. You know what I'm saying? And then that was a classic Just Blaze beat. He didn't change his beat up to make it try to fit some kind of, no, that was a Just
Right.
Blaze beat, Just Blaze banger. You know what I'm saying? And then speaking of Drake love for the underground, he even do a song called Underground Kings. You know what I'm saying? Like Underground Kings probably my second or third, for my preference, favorite songs on the album. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
so I love Lord Knows, Underground Kings. Probably them might be my 2 favorite songs on the album. You know what I'm saying? So and he
You know what's
rhymed.
dope? Yeah, you know what's dope about that? Even like we said earlier, even though it's just Blaze and most people's memories say that the whole album sounds like Marvin's Room, when that song comes on, it doesn't sound out of place at all.
No,
You know what I'm saying?
they found a way to make it work. They found a way to make that work.
Right,
Lord Knows and Underground Kings. They found a way to make both of those work.
right. Which is interesting considering, what people say about the album and well really Drake himself when talking about the album. Like you said, just real quick for those who don't know, never heard, maybe wasn't interested in Drake. Features on his album include The Weeknd, Rihanna, Kendrick Lamar, Nicki Minaj, Rick Ross, Lil Wayne, Andre 3000. Lil Wayne is here about 3 times, especially if you
Yeah, I
get the
believe so.
bonus
Several
joint.
times.
Uh, But also, one other thing that I like about it is the fact that it's not just about bars all the time for people when they hear hip hop and rapping and MCing. It's just great songwriting on here, right?
Yes.
Themes that people can relate to. Like, no dude, I mean, I hope not. I hope you're not like this, but no dude or woman who loves like real boom bap and lyrics and stuff like that can't say they can't have a relative moment in their lives that's similar to Marvin's Room, right? Even if it's just a line in there, like, "Oh yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like that." That's to me, that's kind of what makes the album so good. Is like there's a lot of that, and it's not wasted space when it
Yeah.
comes to the songwriting on this album.
Speaking of
It's
that, hey, look,
just
speaking of
crazy.
songwriting, remember Drake debunked what Weekend? I think the Weekend was saying that there's like 11 songs that he had on a mixtape he was working on, and he ended up giving like those songs to Drake or something like that. And I think Drake and Ford and them were saying like, nah, yeah, people can fact check that, but they were like, nah. Drake was like, nah, that's not the way it happened. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if they collabed on some songs, but Weekend kind of made it sound like, I believe it was the Weekend kind of made it sound like some of his songs end up on Take Care. You know what I'm saying? Now this is before the Weekend was the Weekend now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This is excuse me, early young, excuse me, Weekend, early young Drake. So people can look that up about the Weekend songs and Take Care of you. They'll see something about that if I'm not mistaken. But nevertheless, like you said, it's about album getting put together. The songwriting was great on Take Care. Um, it flowed. It was sequenced, like I said a few minutes ago. I think that it's monumental for his legacy and monumental for that era. And I know you had some other questions about that. I don't want to jump the gun. I think you had some more questions about it.
Yeah. So let's get into considering. Well, let me just say this because it was one note I did have when you mentioned Underground Kings. One thing I liked as a Drake fan, what I liked that he would do is have songs like that, right? Like that made it feel like it was he was going to like I don't know give a homage back to an old school artist like the Wu Tang joint on what was that? Nothing was ever the same or something like that. Um, but he's kind of done
Yeah,
that
The Wu Tang Forever.
Wu Tang forever. Like he's kind of
Yeah.
done that as a theme. But when you hear the song, it's never what you expect,
No,
right?
it's
Like
not.
it's never what you expect. It's
It's
almost
not
like
biting like you think it's biting.
right. It's almost like a jumping off point. The hook is tied to the
Yeah.
title, but it's never like, oh, he gonna rap over some RZA or he gonna
No.
Bun B is on this track. Like it's never like that.
Right.
Which is why I like it because it's always again, I don't know what it's gonna sound like. I read the title, press play, it's like, oh, okay, this is cool.
That's true.
But yeah, let's get into one of the things you mentioned early about Drake. We know right now he's a polarizing figure in hip hop because of the battle. But even before the battle, you mentioned it. There was always this debate on whether Drake was hip hop, this album being hip hop, is Drake an MC? Tone, what do you say, and what do you think about those who may try to push him off into another category that's not hip hop?
Every now and then you get a artist who can do a little bit of everything. And I think that confuse some fans because some fans think hip hop sounds one way. You know what I'm saying? They forget about the numerous different styles in the 50 plus years of the culture. They forget about Biz Markie. Then they'll forget about, Lauryn Hill. They'll forget about, Bone Thugs. They'll forget about all these different styles, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, and there's been MCs who sing some, and this is not brand new. You know what I'm saying? Like 50 sung hooks. Ja Rule sang the hooks. Eminem even sings some on some of his own hooks. You know what I'm saying? Like, so people played around with different ways to construct songs. You know what I'm saying? But as far as Drake being hip hop, I'm gonna say the same thing I said when I was on the rap roundtable. Now let me bring this up. It's probably about a year ago. We had this whole discussion about Drake and bar hip hop. Last time I checked, if you're doing mixtapes and you're doing mixtapes and you're doing songs with Elzai, Fonte, Cardinal Official, Bun B, all of these different people, rhymers, spitters. You know what I'm saying? Then by the time So Far Gone come, you're doing songs with Lil Wayne and all these other MCs. You
Mm-hmm.
are rhyming. You have rap songs. You have rap mixtapes. Yeah, you sing some on some of your mixtapes because you can. You know what I'm saying? Like you doing more things because you're able to be versatile enough to say, I don't need somebody to come sing my hooks because I can sing my own hooks. And some of my
Mm-hmm.
songs I might not rhyme on. I'll just sing some on because I found a niche. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm LL except LL didn't sing. I sing. You know what I'm saying? Because when the girls start really gravitating to Drake, it's like, what do you expect someone to do? They're not gonna use their ability to sell records, to get more famous, to get more money, to be more have no more notoriety in they field of study. You know what I'm saying? Like Drake ended up being a chick magnet, so he made songs for chicks. You know what I'm saying? But every now and then, again, we can't act like those timestamp songs didn't happen. We can't act like all those tracks with Rick Ross didn't happen. Yes, he's a rapper, you know what I'm saying, who can sing, who makes pop music and rap music. But to say he's not hip hop, that means we're taking out a lot of other people who did the same thing or something similar. You know what I'm saying? So I know it's not the cool thing to say, even before this battle and the lawsuit thing and all that. I think that Drake might have rubbed certain people the wrong way because he's not rugged. You know what I'm saying? Like, so some people think hip hop is a certain kind of image, right? I talked to certain cats on the East Coast, and look, Drake don't look like Black Moon and Smith and Wesson. You know what I'm saying? He don't rap like that. So it's like, okay, now he don't look like MC8 and Snoop. You know what I'm saying? He don't look like Outkast. He's from Canada. He's a little bit of everything. He's influenced by everyone because he's a hip hop head first. You know what I'm saying? So you can't tell me somebody who has over 100 raps, 100 songs where he rap on is not hip hop. It doesn't even make logical sense to me. You rap over more than 100 songs
Mm-hmm.
between your mixtapes, your albums, and your features. You rapped on more than 100 songs, and you're not hip hop. If anybody's listening to this, or if you can explain that to me again for the third and final time, that I'm an artist that raps on 100 songs between my mixtapes, my albums, my features, and I'm not hip hop, then they nobody hip hop. Make it
Yeah,
make sense.
you know what I this is where I think the argument comes from. Now, those who have watched my podcast, maybe follow my podcast, know before the battle, I'm a Drake fan. I have a number of albums and mixtapes and all that because I like them for both, right? I like the rapping. I definitely like the singing. I like the music. But what I think what cats are doing by separating Drake from his counterparts who can do the same exact things, for example, like Fonte and Lauren Hill, is they were introduced to them primarily as rappers. And most of the singing was, in Fonte's case, was like foreign exchange and kind of sprinkled in Little Brother. And Lauren Hill didn't really go full on with the singing until she had her solo. But these same people would never question them as MCs or their pen because they decided I'm gonna do a little bit more singing on this project. I think Drake kind of popularized it and mastered it at a level that Lauren Hill didn't even want to continue with, to be honest, after that first album. And I think that's where there's an issue, right? Because they don't want to accept this rapper that also sings in this way unless
Yeah,
he rapping the majority of the time.
right, right. Yeah, I agree with that. You know what I'm saying? But it's like his gift is a curse. You know what I'm saying? Like, because again, if I'm able to give multiple crowds within the hip hop context music, why wouldn't I? So yeah, every now and then he'll do his timestamp songs, stuff like that, but then he gonna do his slow songs for the chicks. He gonna do a certain kind of vibe for the club. And so we really been honest, the versatility is there. He showed the versatility on Take Care, but again, like I said, on Twitter again recently, back to the hip hop thing real quick is so not only did I do all those songs right, I I battled Meek Mills, I battled Pusha T, I battled Kendrick Lamar, and I throw jabs at Common. You know what I'm saying? I throw some stuff at Rick Ross and about five other people on Family Matters. And if you listen to that second verse on Family Matters, Drake got it in. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody go back and listen to Family Matters right now. First of all, the whole song, but that like second verse when that beat changed that first time, Drake got it in. He dissed everybody. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So that ain't hip hop people. You're in rap battles with you a juggernaut and you and another juggernaut like Kendrick go at it. And you make several diss songs, joints of dope. You know what I'm saying? For real. You know what I'm saying? And then
Well, look, it's the same thing like during the battle because obviously, if you've seen my content, I'm a big Kendrick fan, and
yeah,
I have my jokes about Drake. But the one thing I would say about Drake in those videos in real time was he battled though. Like he didn't run away from the battle. He didn't ignore Kendrick. He went in to battle to win. There's something to be said about being that's a
being an
display
MC.
of being an MC and a hip hop head. You think you just as nice, if not better, than this guy. And it's not like Kendrick dropped 4 or 5 records and that was it. Like Drake was dropping records, trying to drop more, like and
Drop
Duppy
more.
freestyle, let's not forget.
Hey, that double freestyle on. Look, I tell people right now, uh, if Pusha didn't have that story added on and didn't have that Joker with about his child, that might have ended up a little different. That double freestyle was cold. Then he got Meek out of there back to back, played in clubs and the streets and everything. That's not hip hop, people. Again, make it make sense. Now I did a video about it last winter, I believe, because the battle was early last spring and summer. I said in my video, and I reposted on Twitter recently, Drake did what a lot of people in his position wouldn't have done, and what they would have, a lot of people would have ignored people. Drake didn't. Drake battled same way. Big Daddy Kane said, "Hey, two people can't be in the room at the same time." We talked about this before, and saying they're the best. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to battle. Drake is battle tested, like him or not. Okay, if you want to say Pusha got him, cool. Kendrick got him, cool. He fought. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, throwing shots at Common, throwing shots at Ross, getting Meek up out of there. All of this stuff is hip hop. So is this a singer doing all that as a rapper? Because it sounds like a rapper to me who can sing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's all I'm
Right.
saying, man. You gotta make that stuff make sense, man. And he's proven it by being engaging in battle. But also, he's done tracks with a lot of different MCs. He's been on songs with your Eminems. He's been on songs with Jay-Z, Pound Cake. All of these. What do we really? Sometimes we have to move emotions out the way and be logical in our hip hop discussions and our hip hop debates.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I mean, of course, now people feel justified in it, but again, we're talking about a rap battle. If it was a Kendrick being the MC versus the singer, what are we even talking about? Are we even paying attention, right? Because who wants to hear that? And for some of y'all who may not be old enough, maybe you wasn't outside in the early '90s or the mid '90s, whatever. But when R&B singers rapped, it most of the time it wasn't good
It was
at
terrible.
all. It was pretty garbage most of the time. Uh,
Backstage, underage, adolescent.
right. Except sometimes BBD could be like, it's cool. But
Yeah, it's
when the
cool
R.
until you
Kelly,
really go back and listen to the ride. You're like, oh my God, that was terrible. But
yeah,
it sounded good at the time.
the R. Kellys, the Bobby Browns, I'm going to rap. Like, no, please don't.
No, he's a
Uh,
rapper. You know what, Vay? And like you said, this time last year, people were saying Kendrick and Drake was the biggest rap battle of all time. I'm one of the ones that says the biggest because of social media. Now, if Kendrick was, I mean, if Drake wasn't a rapper, then there was no rap battle. You right? So that means Not Like Us is the biggest diss song in history of a rapper dissing a singer, and that's not the way it went.
right. It can't be both.
It can't be. You can't, guys. You can't have it both ways.
Right. It can't have both. All right. So Out of Drake's catalog of music,
Mm.
is Take Care his best album, and is it a classic?
So,
Because remember, Kendrick said you don't have one.
right. And Kendrick's supposed to say that because Jay-Z said one hot album every 10-year average. So
Yeah, we knew that was a
it's,
lie.
and, KRS said the bridge is over. I mean, was it over? Maybe it was, but I'm just
Right.
saying, you can debate that. But I would say, based on the criteria, well, I like Take Care of the best. You know what I'm saying? I think it's his best album. I wouldn't be mad if someone else say Nothing Was the Same might have been better, or one of the album might be better. I've seen people discuss which album they think is the best one. I'm gonna say Take Care overall hit every benchmark. I do believe that Take Care is a classic album, and this is why I say that too, real quick. A lot of times when people our age, the nostalgia hits you, and just like I said, hey, hip hop legends and hip hop classics didn't stop on December 31st, 1999, man. You know what I'm saying? I've said this before on Twitter. So there are classics for other generations. You know what I'm saying? Do people my age, do some of y'all fans even realize how big Drake actually is, how big Take Care was, how it was received by a fan base at that time? 700,000 almost the first week, 8 million now. It's a massive, it has the classic impact, guest appearances, singles, everything. It has everything a classic album is going to have, whether you like it or not. That's fine. There's classic albums in the 80s, 90s I don't like. You think I like every album that's 5 mics in the Source magazine? Some of them I think are okay, but I understand the impact of them. Just like certain 80s albums, I don't think some of them was 5 mics. You know what I'm saying? Some of them were, some of them weren't. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't matter because it hit the mark. You know what I'm saying? So Take Care hit the mark for its generation. Matter of fact, you can't name too many albums bigger than Take Care in his generation outside of maybe Good Kid, Mad City now. You know what I'm saying? Like outside of that, there's probably no album that's bigger than Take Care in his generation. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I want to say Good Kid, Mad City dropped maybe what, a year after that? You know what I'm saying? Was it 2012? I believe Good Kid
Yeah,
dropped.
2012.
So I mean, those two albums might be both of their magnum opus, man. You know what I'm saying? And for their generation, yeah, man, they classics.
Yeah, I would agree. Well, Take Care is my favorite Drake album, but also for all the reasons I described earlier of why the album is so good, to me is what makes it his best album, arguably, but also makes it a classic because honestly, those are the qualities of a classic, right? Guest features fit. The music all flows and everything sounds good. The sound quality is good. The writing is good. Like everything is there. Now to Tone's point, we could talk about a number of different albums, and if you just can't connect with the artist, you're never gonna like it. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? So we're not here to. It's not OVO Tone and OVO Vegas here to convince you to like Drake or to like this album. It's really about the substance of the album, what he was able to do at the time. All the rumors, well, some are not rumors, but about the ghostwriting, none of it really comes from this album. To be honest, it comes from some of the filler shit that happens later on in his career.
yeah,
But this, at this point in time, and even now, we knew this was all Drake. And to me, it's a great album. It's a classic in my opinion.
yeah.
Um,
I agree.
what do y'all think? Do you like Drake? Do you like Take Care, his sophomore album? Do you feel the same? What are your thoughts on Drake being hip hop or not being hip hop? Leave your comments in the comment section below. You could follow Tony on his podcast, Into the Dome podcast, right here on YouTube, where he's talking about topics sort of like what we just talked about now and other things and lists and all types of stuff. And then he going crazy on Twitter. What's up?
Also, the website now is not enterthedome.com anymore. It's now Tony the Dome.
Tony
dot
the
com
Dome.
because I
Okay.
re-put a lot of people wanted to see a lot of my old articles. I got some other more updated stuff on. So if you want to read some articles, you know what I'm saying? Everybody from Phil Collins to what I'm saying, Shaka Khan, everybody's all on there, man. So it's a lot of it's articles on musicians from every genre, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Johnny Cash and all that, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, TonyTheDome.com and the Dome Podcast on YouTube.
Keep following TonyTheDome.com, Into the Dome podcast right here on YouTube. And on this channel alone, I like to appreciate everybody who is subscribed, who are following, who are commenting. Keep liking, keep sharing, all that good stuff, because what we do here, we're not just hip hop fans, as Tony just said about his writing, we're music fans. So we're looking at this from that lens, right? We're hip hop heads, but we have all this other experience with different types of music and what makes a great album. And we talked about one today. So remember, go out and support real hip hop. Peace.
Peace.